All right, going live in three, two, one. Well, this is Olivia on air up to episode 34. Oh, that's pretty high. Olivia, how are you doing this evening?
I'm allergy filled. How are you?
Yes, as we were discussing before we went live, yes, your horrible allergies. So if you're coughing or wheezing, everyone would just take note that you're okay in a sense. You're just suffering from the annual allergy, what would you call it? I don't problem, I guess.
Yes, yes.
It's is it how bad is it? Is it like are you what exactly are you going through? Is it like blowing the nose? What's your process there?
Well, yeah, waking up, I like when I wake up, I'm immediately like blowing my nose and coughing. It's really gross. And sneezing and allergies have always like really had a bad effect on me. And then I took one allergy medication and I did Flonase this morning and then in the afternoon I did more Flonase. And then towards the evening, I took another allergy medication, and I'm still feeling the effects. And don't worry, guys, that's not like overdose or anything. My allergist said that I can, that's allowed because my allergies are, pretty bad. And when I go outside, I can't not sneeze. Actually, something kind of funny happened this morning. I was walking my dogs this morning, and one of my dogs, Sammy, is also allergic to like the outdoors. He has allergies. And I sneezed, and then he sneezed, and then I sneezed again, and it was like all in a row, and it was funny.
That is very funny. So did you give him a tissue?
No, but he does take like human allergy medication, which I didn't know that dogs could do, but I think he takes Zyrtec, so it's funny.
Are you joking when you say that, or does he really? Are you really
No, he
giving?
really takes it. He really takes Zyrtec.
Oh, okay.
It's interesting because my other dog, Beverly, she doesn't have any allergies or anything like that. She also doesn't care about thunder, which is weird.
Right.
It's just weird how dogs are like they're just like people. They're so different.
Oh, that's interesting. So, as well, the I can tell you that when I was younger, I used to suffer from severe allergies. I would just basically I'd be blowing my nose all day, and it would come, and it would just drive me crazy. It would be like 2 or 3 days in a row, and then finally just go away after a while. So my body just built up a nice immunity to it, so I'm not just, it doesn't affect me as much as it used to. And I do know about 20 years ago, I developed some sort of a allergy. It turned into a cough rather than me blowing my nose, and they just gave me some allergy medicine which didn't work. I just had to deal with it, and eventually that went away too. So I know it's like to suffer from it, and it can be really annoying. And I hopefully I say that everyone listening says this as well. Hopefully you're feeling better soon.
Thank you. Yeah, it's a real struggle because it's like being sick, but I feel like when people call it allergies, like no one really cares, you know?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And when I would sneeze, people would think that I was getting like you said, people would look at me and say, "Oh, you're getting sick." No, no, I'd say it's allergies. It's allergies. So, and they just
Yeah.
couldn't relate. I like how you said when you woke up, you started sneezing like before your body wasn't affected by it, how your body was giving you the nice, convenient way of letting you sleep until you woke up before it tortured you. So,
Yeah, I know. And especially in like like really the springtime like allergy season when I wake up like I can barely see out of my eyes. It's so bad. My eyes get really itchy. And then sometimes it gets a little bit like worrisome because sometimes my throat feels like it's closing and like today my lungs were getting itchy, which is like more common down here than when I was in Maryland, which is weird, but
hmm.
yeah, it's weird. I'm gonna go to an allergist soon because I feel like that's just too much. It's too intense.
Yeah, and this as far as the allergies though, the I was this is like I think I said this earlier before we went live though. This is like an early spring, would you say? Like because we're still technically in winter.
Yeah, I guess so. I was saying how it's kind of like in Florida, it's so warm, and recently the weather has been fluctuating a lot. Like it'll get warm for a week and then like really cold again. Like I think last week it was in the 40s, like in the daytime, which is
Mm.
really crazy for Florida. But uh it's like when it fluctuates like that, I feel like the plants just take advantage of it and they send all their pollen off no matter what time of year it is.
Hmm.
So
The That's interesting because it's pretty warm during like the heart of winter, which would be like I guess January. Did you get anything? Is it warm? Would you say it's warm in January as well?
No.
Oh,
It was cold this year. It was pretty chilly for like a good month and a half. It was, 40s at night, 50s and 60s during the day.
oh,
It
okay.
wasn't like it wasn't like really cold. It wasn't Maryland or like, the Northeast cold, but still.
Yeah, gotcha. Okay, I actually thought Florida would be warmer than that. I didn't realize that. I always thought like all year round it was like pretty much up in the 70s or even 80s. I didn't realize it dropped so much. That's interesting. I learned something new.
Yeah, I feel like last year it only dropped into the 50s even at night, and the 40s it's just getting a little weird.
Hmm. Yeah, the it's gotten a little weird here too. It was yesterday or the day before, whatever it was. It was like 75 degrees, and I had to turn the air conditioning on for the first time in a long time. And then the next day, it dropped down to like 38 degrees. So it was like I had to turn the heat on. So it was like I don't know what's going on with that. It's like back and forth, back and forth. So I think we're all getting the same thing, just different degrees, different ways, levels of temperature ranges, I guess.
Right.
Well, before we go too far, just want to remind everyone if you'd like to support what we're doing, there's an affiliate link in the description below for NordVPN. If you'd like to purchase the service, that would help what we're doing. Is I've used it in the past. I said several times already. The service is very good. It's reliable and dependable. And if you're like want to hide your location, want to protect your identity, watch. So I've never done this, but several people have said this. You can watch videos from around the world from streaming services from different locations. It works for that. And the price I know is less than full price, not quite a third, I believe, but it's a pretty good price. And as if you any purchase you make would help support what we're doing, and we really appreciate that.
Thank you.
Alrighty, so let's look at our question from last week. Let me bring it up here. Let's see if I have it up. Oh, give me one second. I thought I had it up here. So it was about the blues. Do you remember what it was exactly? Let me see
I
here.
think it was, do you like the blues or do you like listen to the blues or something like that?
Yeah, here we go. Here it comes right now. So, okay, give me one second. I'll bring it up on the screen for everyone to see. There we go. Can you see that okay?
Yes.
Very good. It says, "Do you like the blues? If so, who are your favorite artists? Comment below." Second here. Let's see. 71% with I've never heard the blues. Okay, pretty high. 13% with yes, 8% with no, 6% why I have to be in the mood to listen to it, and 3% I don't listen to music at all, or I don't listen to music. So I think that the 71% is maybe because we have an international audience. That's awfully high. So I would think in the United States, I think that number would be much lower.
I agree.
So interesting. So let's take a look at our responses here. Okay, some of these are probably going to be groups or bands I'm not familiar with. So hopefully you'll know them, or maybe one of our viewers will be able to tell who this is. SRV, do you know who that is?
No.
Okay. You, so I can. I'm not sure what YH means. I can play one of these songs on the piano. YH. Wonder what that means. Do you know what that means?
I do not.
Okay. The blues is depressing. Oh, okay. A little poopy with the thumbs down. Chicago band. Okay. Chicago, I guess he means Chicago, the from the 70s, I guess.
I
So,
think so.
do they play did they do the blues? I don't
I
remember them.
I don't know. Let me look up.
I don't remember their songs being bluesy at all. They were more like rock or maybe top 40, not blues. So let's see. Kiss Best Fan. I'm not sure who is my favorite, but the one I'm still following, Melvin Taylor and Tommy Castro. Okay. You've heard of those?
Um,
Bring it over here. Here's the names again.
I don't think so.
I don't think I've heard those either. Pretty cool. Uh, HM, I feel like part of the voters who vote for I've never heard this blues actually heard it at least once, just didn't realize it. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Blues is my favorite genre of music. Very cool.
Cool.
Plus, you still alive, plus respect. Okay. You can never go wrong with either Leadbelly or Billy Willie McTell. I've heard of lead belly. I'm not sure. I'm blind. I'm sorry, blind Willie McTell. I'm not sure about the other one though. So,
Those are
uh,
great names.
yeah,
Oh,
Sam
I
Cooke.
like Sam Cooke.
Yeah,
Well, I
nice.
don't know if that's blues, but
Yeah, I'm not sure either. I've heard the name for sure. That's Soul, but Sam Cooke. Okay, here he's got a reply.
oh,
Uh,
there we
that's
go.
that's Soul, but Sam Cooke is the greatest. Oh, he's soul music. So it's soul music, not blues. Is what he's saying. Between him and Otis Redding, the raw emotion they can express, singing "I Wish I Could Sing." Yeah. See, I love Sam Cooke. So another Sam Cooke. And my favorite artist is GIMS or GIMS or Jims. I'm not sure if it's pronounced. OD saying, did James Brown play the blues? By the way, I only know his music because of the GTA radio. I don't know which one plays the greatest playback. But it's a cool song. But that's all I know. Okay, did James Brown play the blues? Hmm,
Um,
I don't know.
wasn't he the godfather of soul? Was that
Yeah,
is that
yeah, but
one of his like little nicknames, or is that someone else?
I think you're right, but I don't know if he played the blues or not. That's a good question. I don't know. I would say no, but I don't know, so I can't say yes or no on that one. So, alrighty. Well, so how do you feel? Anything else you'd like to add to that?
No, I think that pretty much sums it up. And I agree. I think that maybe um like people who did the first option might not know that they have heard the blues, but they have, you know?
Mm-hmm. Very possible. And alrighty, let's go. And so, our question for this week: would you like to read it while I'm going ahead and posting it?
Yes. The question this week is very topical for me. It's on a scale of 1 to 5, how bad are your allergies?
Uh, okay, interesting. This is I assume that one of these does not. Well, we'll read the responses here when I get up here. I assume one of the responses as I'm typing them has one where people don't get allergies. I would assume, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, I should put the number in there too. Sorry,
Yeah.
just realized that. There we go. And did you come up with this today because or did you come up with this? Was this coincidental or is it because of your allergies? Is what I should
It was
ask.
because of my allergies. And as I'm saying this, my eye is getting really itchy.
Oh.
The tree pollen, I feel like that's what really gets me. I'm allergic to a lot of things, though. I'm allergic to a lot of things. Luckily, not peanut butter. I don't know what I would do if I was allergic to peanut butter.
You had a lot of peanut butter?
Not a lot. I just like it a lot, you know?
Oh, I got you. The the one thing I know I'm allergic to is bee stings. When I was a kid, I've always been allergic to them, but my reaction has been much worse as an adult versus as a child. And the one of the last times I got stung by a bee, my whole body broke out with hives by a single sting. So
Wow.
wasn't pleasant. And one of the times I got stung by a bee, uh, uh, the hives went away within within maybe an hour or so. So it wasn't too bad. But if I got, if it's might be worse, it might have gotten worse. I know some people can die from a single bee sting. So whatever might happen to my body, it's gotten worse over as I've gotten older. I do know one time I got stung by a bee and I got, it also broke out in the hives. In that case, the hives not only broke out on my body, but within my lungs, which was really weird. I had a problem breathing for a little bit and then that went away. So
That sounds terrible.
yeah.
Yeah, that's awful. It's weird. I've never heard of that, getting hives in the lungs.
Yeah, I assume it was hives and lungs. It was whatever it did. My lungs started to swell up inside. I could feel it. So,
Mm,
and I assume it was because I got hives in my body. And there's just little red dots, or like they were like had a little dot. And it was like maybe 2 inches in diameter that was surrounding that dot throughout my entire body. That's what I got. It was like,
yeah,
and then they just, like I said, they just went away really quickly. It was bad, but not bad enough that I had to go to the hospital. I just rested for a little bit and then it went away. So,
interesting.
and
Yeah, my allergist in Maryland, she's amazing. But I used to like my face used to swell up randomly, like from allergies. And that was like when I was like a preteen and a kid. That went away luckily. But she said that I'm so allergic to so many things that, like, even though I've never been stung by a bee, she gave me an EpiPen just in case because she thinks that if I ever got stung, I would most likely need an EpiPen like immediately.
An EpiPen. What is that? I'm not sure what that is. What is an EpiPen?
Oh, EpiPen. It's I think if you have that strong of a reaction, you could look into going to an allergist and getting one. I don't really know how to describe. It's an emergency epinephrine auto injector.
Oh,
Um
interesting. Okay.
and basically it's like if someone you have to get diagnosed with like some sort of severe allergy, and it's kind of they give different doses for different severity of allergies. Like people, if someone accidentally eats peanut butter and they're allergic, or if they accidentally eat shellfish and they're allergic, or they get stung by a wasp or a bee and they're allergic to that, what you do is you basically like stab yourself in the thigh with this epinephrine, and then you call 911, and that'll keep you alive until you can get to the hospital.
Hmm.
So, and I
Okay.
mean, if the bee thing is getting worse, it might be something to look into just in case.
Right. Right. Yeah. I fortunately have not been stung that I remember. I do. Well, I have a story. Before we go too far, we gotta say hello to Dozen Play 3.0. Say hello, hello.
Oh.
So, um, I don't remember how it was. Probably about 15 years ago. It was there was I did not know this, but there was a beehive, and the beehive was in the ground in front of my house, and I had a tarp, an old tarp laying that was covering it, and I went ahead and just I thought the tarp was just laying on the ground. So I ripped it, I lifted it up, and just was going to throw it away or whatever. And what happened when I lifted the tarp up? It ripped the beehive in half, and the bees were angry. They started chasing me around my house. So, and they wouldn't stop chasing after me. I don't remember if I got stung or not. So, but I do remember I did not expect that. So eventually they calmed down. They stopped chasing after me. And unfortunately, they killed them because they at that point, they was right at the front of my house near my door. So it was impossible for me to get in there without them swarming around. So I had to kill all of them. But it was, I don't want to kill them, but unfortunately, it was just something I had to do. So,
Yeah, that's
and
interesting. See, because I've like literally, I don't know how it happens, but bees, I guess they kind of like me. I don't know why, but there's been a few times where my dad is like he'll be like digging in the yard or something, and this happened in Maryland mostly. And there are solitary bees that live in like little holes or burrows in the ground or something like that. That is actually pretty common, I think. Um, and they were angry at him and they started stinging him, but when I went to like pick him up and bring him somewhere else, they didn't sting me at all, which is
hmm,
interesting. And
yeah,
but there have been like a few times when bees will be stinging other people, but they don't touch me, which is cool.
that's
Maybe they know I'm allergic.
the I know some bees won't attack unless they feel threatened. So
That's true.
and then of course there's the supposed killer bees that are from Africa. I don't know if I
Yeah.
don't I don't know whatever happened to those, but I don't know if they made it to the United States. I remember hearing that when I was a kid that they were working their way up into Mexico and the United States. I never heard what happened though. So, but the bees, most of the bees I've seen are usually just leave me alone. It's just once in a while. Like I said, like I had unintentionally ripped their hive in half, and so they were that one time they were definitely angry at me. It was really bizarre. So
Yeah,
they
it kind of makes me think maybe they can recognize faces
hmm,
because, like, well, bees are pretty smart and they can see in UV, so they can see a color spectrum that we can't see without technology help.
well,
Um,
they can see. I didn't know that. So they see beyond a range beyond what we can see. I didn't know that.
Yeah, a lot of insects do actually. A lot of butterflies and stuff, and bees also can recognize. Well, okay, so there was a documentary that I watched. I don't remember what it's called, um, but there was this guy that was studying bees in his backyard, and a bee started to recognize him more and was less defensive when he came around after a while. So I think that, and also in on the oh Jesus, at the time that I almost stroked out there. At the time that my dad was getting stung from digging, I wasn't digging. I was sitting in the grass. So maybe um they like could recognize his face versus mine, and they like, I don't know, somehow knew. I don't know.
Um,
I feel like
that he
maybe,
was a threat and you weren't, I guess. Is that what you
yeah.
gotcha. Gotcha. That's interesting. That'd be interesting if that's true. That's for sure. The I wouldn't be surprised if something like that's true, but but I would have to say though, all the bees just would recognize him and attack him, but not you. Is there something to that effect?
Maybe, I don't know. Um I'm trying to find the thing that I watched, the one about the bees.
Okay. Well, we're gonna go ahead and post our question. So does that look good? Everything look good there? You didn't want to add anything, correct?
Yes, that's good.
Okay, good. So we got that there. So alrighty, we can come back to that
Sweet.
later in the show. So
Well, I think it was on Amazon Prime. But yeah.
okay. That's an interesting. Yeah, I'd like to hear a follow up on it. If you can find that information, Todd, that'd be good. Maybe we can discuss that in a later show or something, or if you
Yeah.
find it too. So
I do. I've always thought that animals are much smarter than people like think that they are. I feel like um, there was some quote from an environmentalist. I don't remember who. I don't remember exactly the quote, but it's like the narcissism of the human population to think that we're the only ones that have this very formal like method of communicating. Um, and I think that's like pretty true because when you think about it, a lot of animals have found ways, like elephants can communicate with each other through the ground over miles and miles.
is it through the
And
ground? The from what I understand, it's the reason it's miles and miles is because they send sound waves that are very low frequencies. That's what I would remember.
yeah,
Because
yeah, and it's really cool. They communicate with each other. Their emotional bonds are very strong. It's just very interesting, and I don't know. It's like I feel like some you can think about it like it's really impressive that humans have made a whole vocabulary and word system, but also it's kind of embarrassing because all the other animals figured out how to talk to each other with just sounds, and humans didn't, with like just plain sounds like parrots squawking at each other. They knew what they're talking about. And dolphins and like orcas are so smart, and they talk to each other with just like a bunch of different sound. Like it's crazy. They don't have a written language or anything, but they don't. Maybe they don't need one.
are you sure about the because you do know the next closest animal that's related to say like an orca or a whale or a dolphin is like a oh not a whale I guess a whale would be there would be the it would be like a cow. Those are the animals like the closest ground based animal would be like a close to be like a cow. Who's
Yeah. Orcas have a like the biggest brain for body size. And I know that doesn't like make up intelligence because parrots have like a brain the size of a shelled walnut, and they've proven that they have the intelligence level of a small child, which is insane. Like African gray parrots, there's this one named Alex that I'm reading about right now. But anyway, um and orcas have a part of the brain that like humans don't even have, and it's thought to be an emotional part of the brain, and they're incredibly intelligent animals, and they I don't know, it's just crazy. And there's a lot of documentaries on them. I forget this one lady, she's made a documentary about them. She's from New Zealand, and she swims with them and she studies them in the wild, and
Mhm.
it's really cool. And they're so smart, and dolphins can recognize themselves in the mirror.
That's interesting. The I will say if you've ever watched the TV show Star Trek: The Next Generation, it's not really commented on, but there's evidence to back this up in the show. The original concept was that in the ship there's supposed to be a section of the ship that they're in where they have whales or dolphins, I don't know which, that are there to help them guide them through space. So, and the logic was that because they can move through through the water in a three-dimensional way, that they would be the next level of they would be able to help them move through space, which is also three-dimensional. And they never show them, but periodically through the episode, you can hear them talking about the whale tanks or the orca tanks or whatever. I don't know what kind of creature it was, whatever tanks they are. They'll mention them, that they have to take care of them. But it's what it is it was, they were going to emphasize it, but they decided not to emphasize it. But you can still, in dialogue, you can still hear them talk about them once in a while. So
Yeah, it's really cool. And I never thought about it like that. We're like so stuck with the just the feet in the ground. And they just navigate gracefully and flawlessly
hmm
an
hmm
incredible underwater world. My favorite quote about the ocean is, "The ocean is as close as we come to another world." It's
hmm.
true
Of course, it's awfully dark too. So that's
for us.
for
But
us.
this is the other thing for animals, for the ocean animals, their eyes are like made for it. Human
Which
eyes are barely even made for regular land.
well,
Can't even
actually,
see in the night.
our eyes, from what I understand, sorry, don't mean to correct you, but what I understand is our eyes are actually made to look underwater. I don't know if you know that, because our eyes are developed from fish. From we evolved from fish eyes.
I
So
heard about that too, but I wasn't sure if I was remembering it right. But like, I don't know. It's still we're still like not that. I mean, I don't know. When I look underwater with my bare eyeballs, it's not that
oh yeah, I agree.
clear.
I agree. Yeah, they probably have. They either what I don't know, but my assumption is that they probably can, maybe they can extract the light better at lower depths so they can see, because it's obviously pretty dark. So once you get far enough down, so the beautiful world is that we see is only we can only see when we bring bright lights with us to see what's down there. So
Yeah,
and I assume I would also assume that maybe they use their other senses to move around so easily. Just to see, to not only see but sense what's going on, I guess. So
yeah. Especially sharks. Sharks have those electro something sensors. Most of them, especially hammerhead sharks. They're like they're actually very I watched this very cool video about them because a lot of people think that hammerheads are just these like stupid animals um, that are like clumsy and designed poorly, but they're very well designed for doing quick and sharp turns.
hmm.
Um, they were showing like the physics of it or whatever. I don't really remember what they were saying, but it was really cool. And they have the sensors along their big fat head that help them sense the slightest movement, which is really awesome. I love that kind of animal, like platypuses and echidnas. Those both are mammals that have the electro something sensors, and they're both mammals that lay eggs, which is really crazy.
Which one was that? The sharks, not the sharks.
No, the platypuses and
Oh, the platypus.
echidnas.
Oh, sorry. Okay, sorry. Yeah, right. Yeah, I know. Yeah, those are the ones that, yeah, they can walk on land and they can swim too, right? So
Yeah,
they're like a step between a dolphin and like a cow, I guess you could say. So
kind of. Yeah, it's they're like mid evolution or something. It's weird.
yeah,
And they have this. I guess everything is always mid evolution though. They have this venomous spur on their back leg too, which is really cool.
yeah, and I bring that up because like I'm thinking of hooves animals that have hooves, like cows and horses, because dolphins were at one point that had hooves, of their ancestors did, I should say. So they evolved and the hooves just faded away through evolution. So that would be the next. That's why I'm making that comparison, because there would be their closest ground based animals. Anything that has hooves would be closely related to like a dolphin or a whale. So
Yeah, animals are really interesting. I love animals so much. Okay, but we do have to review the movie, unless you
okay,
have
well,
another animal thing to say.
did you want to do your food discovery first before
Oh
we
yeah,
do?
we could do the food discovery first. The food, well, it wasn't really a discovery. I just thought I would show it because you were wondering when Arnold Palmer was.
Okay.
So I guess that's the guy. He's like a golfer, or he was, or something. And those are his special golf achievements: all-time low 18-hole score, most consecutive birdies, 7 hole-in-one, or career hole-in-one, 20, 92 victories, um, two-time British Open champion. And His combination is half iced tea and half lemonade.
Oh, okay. So did he make this himself, or did someone just make the brand and just put his name on it, and he decided to go along with it?
I don't really know. I know that a lot of different, like, I know that it's been so widely adopted as far as I've like experienced that a lot of restaurants call a half black tea and half lemonade an Arnold Palmer. A lot of like different companies, not just Arizona tea, but a lot of different tea companies call it an Arnold Palmer.
Oh, I didn't know that. Oh,
Um,
that's quite interesting. Okay. So,
yeah. Um, so it's yeah, I like I was saying before, it's a nice, it's sweet and a kind of sour, but not too sour because I don't really love lemonade that much. But it's a nice balance between the two, and it's refreshing. It reminds me of summer, so it's pretty nice.
oh, I didn't know he passed away. Okay, so uh, he was born in 1929, so he died in 2016. Interesting. So,
Wow, I feel like it's a long life.
yeah, there he is right there. There he is right there on IMDb. So interesting. So I guess they still make the drink with his name on it. So I guess he has I guess his estate or whatever. Or I guess licenses or something. I guess
Yeah.
that's interesting. And you say that, so it's not just this one drink. It's like everywhere. There's other drinks you've seen it otherwhere and other places, other companies. I guess other brands. I guess.
Yeah, yeah, and then I've like yeah, like I said, I've been to a couple restaurants where you can ask for an Arnold Palmer. It's like a Shirley Temple. Yeah, they know what you're talking about. It's just the half icy, half lemonade. Pretty good.
And I like how it's they with the Arizona one they have like it looks like a golf ball kind of as the
Oh my gosh, I did not even notice. You're right. That's totally a golf ball. I was wondering why the top was white.
so it's pretty cool. All right, cool. Well, I learned something there. Thanks for bringing that. And the I've never I used to go driving. Like I would never play golf with anybody, but I used to go to like to play just drive balls at a driving yard. What do you call them? Have you ever been to one of those where you just go out there and you drive the balls to a big field? You ever seen that?
Yes. Yeah.
I've done that. That was pretty fun, but I've never done golf. Have you ever played golf?
I think I did lessons for a little bit when I must have been like 13 or 14, but I didn't really love it that much. So I don't think I did more than just like whatever my dad paid for the first time.
Oh, okay. Of course I have played putt putt golf, but not the miniature golf, but nothing at the grand scale, large scale. So, do you know why miniature golf exists?
No.
It's so it was the original concept was so that, and this is what I heard. So if I'm wrong, someone please correct me. But I had heard that it was started because people wanted to practice their putting. So like when you get closer to the where the hole is, you just want you don't have to drive the ball very hard. You just want to putt the ball. So they created a miniature golf course so people could practice their putting, and it eventually became a pastime. So
Oh. See, I remember the first time I was at a putt-putt course, I didn't really understand the concept of what was going on, so I hit the ball as hard as I could. And I did get yelled at then.
did you cause any damage? Did you hit anybody or?
I don't think so. It might have just gone in the water or something, but I definitely did not. No one told me. I think they thought it was like self-explanatory, but
That's funny.
I was just doing what I saw on TV. So
I will say when I was a kid, I did practice driving in the front yard of the house we lived in, and the house was in a normal subdivision. And I was driving them up the street, and one of them went up and hit a neighbor's house and broke their window. So, and
oh, my worst nightmare.
I walked over to the house, and there were, apparently no one was in there. And I looked at the house, and I'd walked away, and I didn't never said anything ever again until now.
That's what I would do. That's what I would do.
So I saw the glass broken. I assume that I never found the golf ball. I assume it was probably inside the house somewhere. So
Yeah, just shuffle all your golf stuff back in the garage. Just pretend like it never happened.
yeah. All right. Well, that's interesting. And would you, as far as the taste, would you say it tastes pretty good or?
Yeah. I do enjoy it. Whenever I see one, I definitely contemplate getting it, and I usually do. It's pretty good.
Okay.
I would
Well,
recommend it.
cool. And any other golf related drinks that you can think of? Is that just Just Arnold Palmer. Any? I know you brought up the Shirley Temple, which is not golf. Any other? I guess any other drinks like that? Is there anything else like a Shirley Temple or Arnold Palmer you
I
can think
don't
of?
think so.
Just curious.
Not that I've heard of. Those are like pretty iconic drinks as far as I know that are like named after people that have really stuck around for a long time.
Hmm. Okay.
Unless I'm missing something. I don't know. I don't think so.
Just curious. Alrighty, cool. Alrighty, well, let's see. As far as our movie for this week, had you ever was let me go ahead and bring that up here. So it's When Harry Met Sally. Had you ever seen this before?
I had not seen this before. I had seen like a few excerpts from it, but I hadn't seen like the movie. I didn't know what was going on.
And would you, when you say excerpt, I mean, I would assume you probably saw the scene where Meg Ryan is at the table going, "Yes, yes."
Yeah.
It was probably one of the most famous scenes from the movie. So the so basically, I had seen this movie in when it first came out the theater, and I remember seeing. I don't think I think I'd seen it since then. I'm not sure if I had. I don't remember, but um, I I did have back in the '90s. I did have the CD for the soundtrack for the movie, which was done by oh, I forget the composer's name. Um, something Junior. I can't remember what his name is off the top. But anyway, not that I really wanted it. I just had it because I had a collection of different scores. I forget where I got that. It might have been given to me as a gift by somebody, like a family or something. Family. I think my sister might give it to me. But the and aside from that, I don't think I've really paid attention to this movie. So I will say we're kind of jumping to the end here, but I would say I really liked the movie because I don't remember, like, it'd been so long, it's pretty much watching it like it was new again, but I did remember some key scenes. And I would say that it just surprised me that it was that good of a movie. So,
Yeah.
and so let's see, we can go ahead and jump into this. Uh, so the interesting thing about the movie is it's basically a romance, which starts off like a lot of romance. I guess I assume a lot of romance movies do. You have the two people who are going to fall in love who hate each other or don't like each other in some way at the beginning, and eventually they fall in love and become a couple by the end of the movie. So
Yes. The enemies to lovers trope.
yes. And the difference that somebody else pointed out, because I watched a couple of other reviews before we did ours, and I forget who said this, but he pointed out the fact that one of the big differences between this is at the very beginning of the movie, the two of them don't like each other. They split ways, and they instead of the movie basically staying with them, basic instead of the story basically staying with them, they live their own lives and eventually run into each other a couple more times years later, which is not usually how it works, he said. I'm not sure if that's true. Do you watch any romance comedies?
I watch a few and yeah, they usually I might have seen it like once or twice before, but it's not common, definitely not common to have to like separate and see where they are or like have them like reconnect a few times.
Right. And the other romance comedy I've seen more recently would be one called The Cutting Edge, which is about a couple of figure skaters. Or one was a hockey player that became a figure skater, and the woman was a figure skater. And they hated each other at first. Same kind of idea that by the end they're deeply in love with each other. So, but the difference was that spanned over 2 years, and they showed how they gradually went from hating each other to respecting each other, then falling deeply in love with each other. So, same kind of thing. But they stayed together. The difference was they stayed together throughout the entire movie. They weren't like separating and then coming back and forgetting or one of them forgetting who the other was, and then remembering and then coming back, and coming back like 2 or 3 times. What is it, like 2 times in this? They at the beginning, then they meet like 5 years later, and then like another 5 years later. Is that right?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, something to that effect. So yeah. So the movie starts off. They're going from somewhere. Were they going from Chicago to New York? Is that where they were going?
Yes, from I just saw it as like from a college to New York.
Okay. And I think it was some Chicago college. I can't remember what it was. But the one thing I'm going to say this. It's a nitpick. I know they couldn't avoid it, but whenever they're driving in their car, two things I'll point out. I won't bring it up again, but when they're driving the car, all the other cars that are moving around them, whenever on the highway, are clearly from the late '80s, not from 1977, which is when this takes place. So, and the other thing is, I will say this: I'll give them credit though. whenever they pull into like a parking lot, like in this scene right here, the cars are appropriate for 1977. So,
That's
and
good.
the obviously it's very hard to get the entire freeway to be from 1970s. So, the only thing I'll bring up, and I'll shut up with this, is that the wheel covers that are on the car are actually not, they're actually wheel covers that you could buy like during the late 80s and early 90s from a local auto parts store, just generic wheel covers. So it also took away from the illusion for me. I used to look at, even when I saw the movie for the first time, I remember pointing this stuff out to my own head. So for me, it's like I always look at the cars to see if they're appropriate for the time, and it's that I saw that immediately. So
Yeah, I did not notice, but it's not surprising that I didn't notice.
the other thing is when they're they make them look younger. They give them, I don't know. Do you think Billy Crystal's wearing a wig when he's in this?
Yes,
Because it's
I think it's a wig.
yeah, it's one of the things I noticed. What sometimes is they'll give, and that looks like her real hair. So I don't think she's wearing a wig. I could be wrong, of course, but it looks like that's her real hair. She
Yeah,
also
I
they
think
also caked on the makeup on her too. So her eyes, I mean, more so than later on. I don't know. Do you think so? Maybe I'm wrong.
I don't know. I didn't really notice. I think maybe they made her. They might have used makeup to cover up any like imperfections, because when you're young, obviously your skin hasn't really been through anything yet. So.
Yeah. And just in case you're wondering, I looked up their age differences. In real life, Billy Crystal and Meg Ryan are about 13 years a difference in age. So
Oh wow.
I thought they pulled it. I thought it pulled it off pretty well because it doesn't really. They felt like they're about the same age roughly throughout the whole movie. So, which is
Yeah, he
what.
always kind of looked like an old man, but there are a few people in the world that even when they're young, they kind of look just like old people.
Mhm. And the main theme of the movie, obviously, we've kind of given the whole plot away already, but the main theme of the movie, or one of the main themes of the movie, is that men and women cannot be friends. Because they will always, the sex will always get in the way. So, and I would say that I agree to that to some extent, but I don't think it's like that for every person. How would you feel about that? What he says?
I hate it when people say stuff like that because it's just like I feel like if as I mean, okay, if I have a crush on someone and they only want to be friends, I am emotionally mature enough to realize that and either just not associate with them because I feel like I can't, be friends with them, or I can like genuinely kind of lose interest, purposefully lose interest. And I feel like when guys say stuff like that, it just feels like a slap in the face because it feels like, so you only want to be around me for one thing. That's not that's and then it's the same thing with the friend zone. It's guys always complain about how hard it is to be in the friend zone, but it's it's really hard to realize that you never even had a friend and all you had was someone who hung around you because they wanted to have sex with you. That's really hurtful. So I just hate it when people say stuff like that.
I
I
don't
think
agree. Yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Wait till you're finished. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off.
I think people I think if you're emotionally mature enough, you can be just friends with anyone,
Right.
and it shouldn't be too hard.
The idea of, well, the thing is he was saying that all men and all women, well, obviously I've known women that were much older than me, like my mother's age, which I could be friends with. So I do have problems for me personally. I do have, it's not about sex, but if I'm deeply attracted to a woman and the woman does not share those same feelings back to me, then it is extremely difficult for me to want to be friends with that person. So
That makes sense. And I mean, I feel like that's one of those instances where, I mean, unrequited love is hard for everyone. Everyone who has experienced it, it's very difficult, but it's also something you have to accept is like just because you like someone doesn't mean that they are required to like you back. And it's hard to accept that kind of thing. But that's one of those instances where I would personally, I just kind of remove myself from the other person's life because it's not fair to them. It's not fair to me. It's not fair to them.
Mhm. Right. And
Sometimes that can be hard to do, but still.
one more thing about the car, and I forgot about this. I wanted to add this in. The name of the car they're driving is a Toyota Corona. and you would probably never hear the name Corona used on a new car, at least not in the immediate future. So I thought it was funny that they would call it the Corona. It was actually, obviously back then there was nothing about the coronavirus around, but the Corona back then was just a very common name. I forgot about that. So,
Cool. I thought
yeah.
that was just like the beer brand.
Yeah, there's the beer, and then there's the car, and then I'm not sure what else there is, but yeah, those two. So, but anyway, yeah, getting back to the story here. The was oh yeah, so we start as the story progresses. Yeah, this is them going to from Chicago to New York, and this is where we have the conversation where she just finds him thoroughly disgusting, and she was so glad to never see him when they finally like go. She basically does he actually I forget what phrase did she say that he hit on her? I forget how she said it exactly. Is that what she said?
I think she either said hit on her or made a pass or something
Made
like that.
Okay, yeah. And was that really considered that? I thought you just said she looked attractive. I mean, you can say that to a person with just being a friend, can't you?
Yeah, I think that's a case of her not being very emotionally mature, but I also think it might have been a different time because I feel like nowadays in my generation it's much easier for like, and I've seen it personally for both men and women to say to other like people that they're that they look really good today or their hair looks really great or whatever, and we like it's a mutual understanding that it's not in a you know in a way, a romantic way. It's just a compliment.
Hmm. Yeah, I've had women walk up to me. I've never had a man say it to me, but I've had women who are just coworkers walk up to me and say, "Well, you look really nice today," or "You've dressed really nice today." So I've had that several times. I've never said that to a woman I work with because I'm always afraid it might be taken in the wrong way. So, but but yeah, I have had women say it to me quite a few times. Not a lot, but enough to that I remember it happening more often than not. So.
Yeah. If I'm ever worried that someone's going to take something the wrong way, instead of saying, like, generally that they look nice, I'll pick out something like, oh, your shoes are really cool, or your hair looks really cool today, or whatever. That way, it'll, like, that feels more like a compliment. I feel like for some reason, when you compliment someone's whole look, it's a little bit, it leans more towards romance.
Mhm.
But if you compliment just one part of their outfit, that's more complimenty, friendly sort of thing.
Okay, well, these people are complimenting my entire outfit, so my shirt, pants, and everything. So the whole ensemble, I guess you could say.
I've done that before too. One time I saw this guy and it was a total stranger. I'm trying to compliment strangers more because I feel like that's a nice thing to do. Um, and he was wearing a suit and it was like the everything matched. It's something and then on another level. It was like he had it was like navy blue, red, and white. It wasn't for America or anything. It was just like a color combination, and the stitching on the suit was red, and then the suit was blue, and I don't think I saw the pants, but the shoes like were this deep red. It was just like very coordinated, and I was like, that is such a coordinated outfit that you're wearing, and that's also like I feel like it's a good way to compliment too.
Hmm. Okay. I will say, talking about things that that you're saying that you don't think would be said nowadays, like like this was a different time, I guess you said, right? There was there's something in the movie that was thrown in there that I thought I'd bring in there, kind of in the same realm. Billy Crystal, his character says, "You remember where you were?" He said he was dating a woman, and that woman didn't understand the question. She was so young. He said that she didn't even know, or she couldn't answer the question where she was when Kennedy was shot. Did you remember that line in the movie?
I remember that part, but I didn't really understand what was going on.
Yeah, basically she was so young that she was not around when Kennedy was shot. And I remember when I was a kid, that was before I was born. But I remember as a kid, people always saying on a regular basis, "You remember where you were where Kennedy was shot." It was a big expression. So
That's like, do you remember where you were when 9/11 happened now?
exactly.
That's what I always heard growing up.
Yeah, exactly. It's the same. Yeah, I was going to draw that same correlation. Yeah, that. And a lot of times, some people even say, "Do you remember where you where you were when the O.J. Simpson verdict was read?" Too. That's another one sometimes that people
Oh
say.
yeah, yeah.
So, but yeah, that's so. And that's like I in this when this movie came out, people were still saying that a lot. I do remember that. And of course, I say if someone had said that, I'd say, oh, I wasn't even born yet. So, but but it's funny that they mentioned in this movie. That's just something that makes the movie dated. So if you don't know what it means, you're not gonna like you didn't catch what it meant right away.
Yeah.
But,
Interesting.
so they meet. They come on to go to New York. Oh, it's there. It is right there. You can see the. 1 second. Let's see. Oh,
I do like that car. I like the color of it.
really? Yeah. Oh, it's University of Chicago. It says on the. You can. It's Billy Crystal's belly is obscuring the word Chicago. I think it says Chicago. So, but let's see the color, just the color.
Yeah, the color, and I like the shape of the not the shape of the car, but I like the back window. I don't know why.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you don't see cars made like this anymore. These station wagon style. I don't think they make any station wagons anymore, do they? Or do they? No. Mostly they're
I
just
think maybe like the SUV replaced it.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, you want to see these that much. So so this is her basically saying goodbye or good luck or so. I don't remember what she says. And basically implying that she never wants to see him again, kind of a thing.
Right.
So we think they're going their separate ways. Of course, we know that's not really the case because they're the two main characters. By the way, the movie does focus obviously on them, and then the two other, I guess, supporting characters would be Carrie Fisher's character and the other guy that she basically becomes married to. So I don't mean to be a downer here. Obviously, Carrie Fisher has passed on, and then the other person who she fell in love with, that character, that actor, has also passed on. So, so his name was Bruno. I'm looking it up right now. Bruno Kirby. I'm looking at the list, my little cheat sheet here. So, and I wanted to add before we go too far, before I forget, that Bruno Kirby was in a movie that came out 2 years before this, called Good Morning Vietnam. And in that movie, he didn't look this. He had almost a completely shaved head, not fully because he was a lieutenant in the army. He did not have the mustache that he does in this movie, and he played a character that is so different from this one that it was a whiny character that was constantly complaining, and he hated what's his name Robin Williams character. Robin Williams was the main character in that movie. And it was the difference between that character and this character is just so funny. It's like you see him in this one and that one. It's like the expression like night and day. And so I would recommend watching that movie just to see if the movie is pretty good, but also seeing the Bruno Kirby's character in that one is pretty funny. So
cool. I can't imagine him with a shaved head. That's weird.
yeah. So, and he's I like him in both. I do like him in both. That one he was purposely meant to be annoying, and this one he's purposely meant to be the friend, the good companion person. So then we have these little cutaways throughout the entire movie about how these couples. I'm not sure if these are real or not. I wonder if these are actors or if these are actually really couples that are just discussing this. I should have looked that up before we started. But I think it's pretty interesting how they talk. Each one gives their own little unique experience, and of course, I don't remember because it's been so long since I saw this the first time. I didn't realize. I guess as the movie was going on, eventually there was going to be Harry and Sally at the very end, sharing their little experience. So
I hope they're real.
they seem like they're real. They really do. So.
Some of them were really funny, like that one where the guy got divorced over and over again.
Oh,
he had like a couple wives, and then he finally went back to his original wife.
Yeah, the wife kept on correcting him, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the ones where I feel like that has to be real, because the one where the guy would start talking and then the wife would start talking as well, and you could I feel like it was an organized chaos because you could kind of hear what they were both saying, and they were both talking about the same thing and making like relevant points. And it was like my brain was trying to pick up all the information that they were giving me about whatever they were talking about. And I feel like that would be really hard to act that. So I hope it's real.
Otherwise, they're just really good actors. How's that?
Yeah.
I don't recognize any of them as any actors I've seen. So obviously, you know what? We could probably just look it up in the credits, I guess. So they would have it says just listens. I'm looking at it right now. I can bring it up so you can see. it lists them as documentary couples.
Oh.
So don't know, and don't know. It doesn't say. So all right. So this is their first encounter. It turns out, what's his name? Billy. What's Billy Crystal's character? Harry Burns. Harry recognizes the guy. He doesn't recognize Sally right away. So
I think
and
he recognized Sally, but he coincidentally recognized the guy too.
really, okay. I thought he. To me, I thought he was more. It really seemed to me that he did not recognize Sally. So I thought he was being honest when he said that, and he didn't.
Oh.
Then when they get into the plane, then he says he recognizes her. So it's, I don't know. You could be right too. I don't know. But but you can tell she recognizes him right away. It's been 5 years, and obviously she made a major impact. He made a major impact on her because she's like, oh my goodness, I can't stand him. I had to stay in a car with him from Chicago to New York several years ago, and I can't stand him, or something to that effect. So, uh, yeah, that's her time. And apparently these two go through lots of different relationships. There we go. So they're sitting in the airplane together, discussing. I forget what there was. What were they discussing here? Do you remember? Was there anything important?
I guess I think he was. They were talking about how um he was dating her friend, and she was like, "I can't believe you don't remember her name." Like I
Oh, right.
remember her saying that.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, even though moments before she didn't remember her best friend in college's name.
yeah, yeah. Yeah. I didn't catch that. You're right. I didn't even think about that. It's pretty good. Have you ever been on one of these little walkway things? Are they?
Yes, I love those.
I wasn't sure if they're still around or not. The only place I've ever seen one that I remember was in the art museum in DC. So there's one that connects the two. There's an old art museum and a new one, and there's a little one of these that connects the underground that connects the two of them together. So
Yeah, that's cool. Oh, I think that was the couple that got divorced and remarried.
yes, yeah. So there we go. We get introduced to Carrie Fisher. So and she's I thought she was very good in this one. So basically, yeah, like I said, basically it's Billy Crystal, Meg Ryan, Carrie Fisher, and Bruno Kirby. That's basically it. I mean, all the other characters are pretty much, I mean, they're not really anything. So they're I mean, as far as they're there to be, to be the love interest or the husband or the wife. But that's other than that, you don't really see. They aren't really there as a major part of the story. They're just there to helps move the story along for the main characters. So it's essentially just four characters. So even though there's a lot of people there, there's no one else really there. That's really essential, I guess you could say.
Right.
I do like this scene about when he's revealing that his wife was cheating on him. Is that right? Is that what he said?
Yeah.
And so they're doing the wave, and they're just oblivious to what's going on around them, but they're not oblivious enough that they can still participate in the wave every time it comes around. So okay, this is where they get to meet each other again, and she puts on a phony thing that she wants to see him when she really doesn't. But then this is where they slowly, as any romance comedy goes, they slowly start to like each other. It gets more and more as they go, and then they decide to become friends after all. So just friends, and the idea was that they became friends because they're both. He had just broken up with Helen, his wife. I don't know why I remember her name all of a sudden. And she had just broken up with the guy who was at the airport, I believe. Is that
Yeah.
right? Yeah. So they decided to be friends just for that reason.
And that was the couple that would talk over each other, but very coordinated. A very coordinated talking over of each other. I don't know how they did that. That had to be real.
Yeah, it's done very well. The and he This is them becoming more friends. They're doing things together, calling on the phone. I will say this. About the same time this movie came out, I would periodically talk to people, and we'd be on the phone, and the TV would be on, and they say what's on, and we turn on the same show at the exact same time. So just like they did. So I
That's
thought it was very,
fun.
yeah. My dad would do that. My best friend, we things like that. It was just so I could relate to them doing that. Jumping on what are you watching, and yeah, I'll turn on the same thing. We watch the same thing for a little bit, and we'd be talking on the phone like they were. So,
Yeah, I don't think I ever did that as a kid. I think the only thing that's kind of similar is me and my friends both watched the same like kids shows growing up, like Hannah Montana. And so we would like if a new episode was coming out, we would gossip about it at school the next day if we both watched it. So
Oh, okay. Yeah. The and then there's famous line from the end of the movie. What's the name of this movie? I know it. I've never seen it, but I do know the movie. Hold on. What was the name of this movie? One second. Oh, I know it. All right, I can't remember. You remember the name of the movie? You don't remember the name of the movie?
I do not.
Let's see. I'll play it just for a split second here.
Ooh, best last line of a movie ever.
Oh, wait. I can't. Well, anyway, it's a famous movie, so it's. I just can't remember what it is off the top of my head. But this is the movie that they were talking about earlier on in this movie when they were saying talking about who's going to be. They were having their discussion in the car. I think it were either in the car or where they stopped to get something to eat. They're jumping back and forth as to the two characters that were in this movie: the woman, and the man that fell in love in this movie. Do you remember that scene?
Vaguely.
Yeah. So I knew what they were talking about, and that's of course because they had that discussion earlier. Now they happen to be watching that same movie that they were discussing 5 years earlier. So, and the line that they say in the movie is very relevant, isn't it? I think it is.
Louis, I think this is the beginning of a beautiful friendship.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah.
Yeah, that's really good. That's been used a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but the line itself though was very relevant for this movie. This is this is the beginning of a beautiful friendship.
Yeah.
So, but I can't remember that. I should know the name of this movie. I can't remember what it is though. But it'll come to me. I'll probably when it comes to me, I'll say it. So, but moving on. They become closer friends. They start doing things together, like they're involved together, but they're not. And even his friend here points that out. And this is not the famous scene, is it?
Oh yeah, it is.
Yes. This is the scene where he claims that Billy Crystal claims that women don't fake it when he knows when they're faking it, and she says, "Oh, you don't know that," and then she purposely fakes it. And I do remember being in the theater seeing this, and it was a very, very laughing scene. The most funny scene was when the woman at the very end says, "I'll have what she's having."
Yeah. I also want to know, what does he do for a living? Because why can he afford that apartment in New York City?
Oh, they're all rich in this. They're all like they up some sort of upscale thing. Like the friend with the mustache, he's like a writer, a famous writer of some kind.
Yeah, their apartments are beautiful in this movie. Ugh, probably millions of dollars at this point.
Yeah, and what does she do?
I don't know.
I don't think they.
I don't know what either of these people do.
Yeah, I think the only person they talk about was him, the one with the mustache. So I don't even know what Carrie Fisher did. So I guess it's not really relevant. So whatever it is, it's the focus is on the love relationship stuff. So you see them getting more friendlier, closing up. They start to realize that they like each other, but they want to try to hook them up with their friends instead. So they go up and they meet and they start to when they're having dinner, the friends decide that they like each other even more. And I thought this was a very funny scene. That he's saying I like he's Bruno, what's his name? He's saying I really like her. I don't want to move too fast or something like that. And then would it be okay if I went out with her instead? And they're like, oh yeah, that's fine. And then they hop into the cab and drive away.
Yeah, I can totally see that happening.
So more couples here. I don't remember if this was there anything really. I remember him talking about she was in the village over or something. I don't remember more than that.
I think so. Yeah, I just remember liking her hair.
Yeah, her hair was
iconic.
Big. Yeah. So this is where we see his ex-wife coming in with the new man that she's dating, and it makes him feel like crap. So
but the new man she's dating is balding more, and he's like ugly. So I don't understand why he's, well, okay, I guess whatever. It's a new person, so.
Right. So the see he's depressed through the whole thing, and he's and that has affected him very much, so that he's kind of just they're arguing, the other two are arguing about the table with the wagon wheel. So what would you say about the wagon wheel table? Do you think it's
Ugly.
ugly?
Ugly. Ugly.
To
It's
me, it doesn't
fine
bother.
if you live in a farm. It would match the rest of the, like, if you have like a farmhouse like feel going on in your living room, then it would probably match the rest of it. But it's like a nice apartment with nice furnishing, and it's kind of like it's just a bit more casual. It's not, doesn't have a strong specific theme like farmy, so it's just totally out of place.
To me, it doesn't. It's not. I don't really care. I don't like it or hate it. I just like it's just a table to me. It's just different. So, I wouldn't say I hate it. I wouldn't say I like it. I would just be like, okay, it's just different. So, I guess I'm just for me when it comes to interior design, I just don't really care so much. I just in fact, well, I have a couch and a chair. Well, the couch is I had to move it downstairs, but neither one of them matched. So I'm the kind of person that just things don't really match or match. I'm the for me it'd just be like it's just a table. It's just different. It's just kind of unique. So I wouldn't even care. So like it would probably fit really nicely where I live because nothing really matches anyway to begin with. So
That is totally a style too, though, because I feel like the style of like mismatched stuff, that's like genuinely something a lot of people strive for. So,
oh
you
really?
know, that's a totally a real thing, especially if everything is mismatched and there are like absolutely no matches, like a table with completely mismatched chairs. That's like pretty popular, actually.
Oh, okay. Didn't know that. Okay. So I guess I'm in some sort of I thought I had no style, but I guess I do have style. Oh, well,
Yes, now you can tell people it's totally intentional and you did it as a design choice. So,
okay. So the oh, what happened here? Why were they having an argument?
he started spouting off about how them moving in together and, whatever life they have is just going to end in shambles because divorce is inevitable, and, blah, 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 blah. Basically just lashing out because he is not getting any help with his, mental health
So
about
do
his
you
marriage.
okay? Do you think that now in my experience, now you talked about the friend zone earlier. In my experience, a woman once a woman puts a man into the position of being a friend, they never want to be with that person romantically. Is that would you say that's true?
No, I feel like a lot of, I mean, it's kind of complicated because women are complicated because people are complicated. And so if you're friends with someone and you just see them as friends, you're not putting them in any kind of zone intentionally. It's just like you think of them as a friend, and if over the years something changes, then and you start to see them in a more romantic way, then that's what just happens. It's kind of just a natural thing, and trying to categorize it, I feel like trying to put people in boxes never really ends well, and trying to categorize it and say, well, I'm in the friend zone for her, so it'll never happen, and blah blah blah. This is just not really very healthy
That's
for
true.
anyone.
It's right. You should never generalize any because some people may be like that. Some people would not be like that. So
Yeah. And like I know a few people who just don't want to date in general. So that's also an option. Like it's not about you, it's just about not really being interested in the dating world in general, which is a very common thing.
hmm. Was that are these people that just want to be single their whole life, or how does that work?
Yeah, like for me, I'm not really interested in dating anyone personally, and I know a few other people like that.
Okay.
Just I mean, I guess maybe in the future, but it could happen, but like it's not really about anyone, and it doesn't really matter who I would meet. It wouldn't really change my mind about it. So there are a few people who view the world like that, and then there are people who I'm sure, are not interested in dating ever, which is also, yeah. So, and I feel like another thing is like the whole thing where people need to get it through their head that the world does not revolve around them and other people. It's, if you try to ask someone out and they say no, there is probably a plethora of reasons before the reason is the fact that you are you, if that makes sense. It's like maybe they are mourning and they don't want to explain that. Maybe they just got out of a relationship, or they're in a relationship or whatever, and they just don't want to explain any of that. And so, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I feel like a lot of people always think, oh, it must be because of me. Why doesn't this person want to date me because of me? What do I need to change about myself? But it's really like, no. Don't need to change anything about yourself. It's just the other person,
Mm-hmm. Gotcha. So I will say that right before, real quickly, as the scene progresses here, I didn't notice that they were holding hands there. So
Oh, yeah.
yeah, so their friendship was more. It was obviously more, but they just didn't want to let on that it was more, I guess you could say. So
Probably. Then he has the wheel.
yeah, it's really, yeah. No, you notice that when he has the wheel, it's just the wheel. The table's gone there. So
Yeah, I was wondering about that.
so
Maybe it's just a glass table.
maybe it could also be because it's harder to pick up because you can see that he can hold the wheel easier. Maybe it's just for convenience sake. It was just easier to have him hold the wheel without the glass, I guess. I don't know.
Maybe, yeah.
But it's still a funny scene. So this is yeah, she's trying to say baby talk, and no one can figure. I don't know how to make the word talk work either. I don't know. How would you make it work?
Maybe with a mouth that's like open and not closed. Maybe like an open mouth, and maybe there are like, you can put little sound lines coming out of it,
Oh yeah, or like a little cartoon bubble where the person puts, like draw a little cartoon bubble, but not put any speech in the bubble.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. So, and then oh yeah, they're dating already, and they both, you can see them getting jealous because each other getting jealous because the other one kisses the other one. So, let's see. Oh, it's right. It turns out her ex, the one, I guess it was the one from the airport. It turns out,
I think it was.
yeah, it turns out he's getting married, and she's angry. She's upset because, obviously because she loved him, but also because the ex, also, and her, when they were together, decided they would never get married because that would be that would destroy everything, because they would have kids, and they could all look at everyone and say, no, we're not married. And I forget all the reasons she gave, but it made sense to her and them apparently. But what happened was her ex got married to someone that he only knew for like a month. So, and she's like, oh, how can he do that when he would never get married to me? I don't remember all what she said exactly, but something to that effect. So,
yeah. And I think that's another one of those situations where, like, honestly, he probably just changed as a person over that span of time, and it probably didn't have anything to do with her, but she thought it was all about her.
Okay, that's a good point. I didn't think of that. So she's crying. They're both upset. He's still over his. So this is where they decide they actually kiss first, which was kind of strange because they almost kissed like they were together, and then because it wasn't like a romantic kiss, it was just like and then all of a sudden they go back because the kiss. Oh, this is the passionate kiss, but before there's a quick kiss, where it's like they were together, which was really strange. It threw me off. And then this one, then they realize that they like each other, so they have.
I know. I was confused by that. I was like, am I supposed to assume that was a friendly kiss on the mouth? I don't think so.
Yeah. so they have sex, and that's where everything basically goes wrong because he walks out, and now they're for the rest of the movie they basically are. She's angry because he walked off. Would you be able to describe this? How would you describe this, the whole part of this movie, this final act here?
I would say it's just like a big lack of communication, and like two people that got together before they really worked out their emotional problems from the past. That's kind of basically what it was. It was just two people who were not communicating well, and were frustrated with each other for different reasons, and they both thought that they were in the right, but they did not want to talk to each other about it.
Okay. And yeah, so basically the whole final part of this movie is just them. Hold on a second, I'm trying to readjust something on my screen here. She's angry because she felt that she was she could bring the fact that he walked out on her, and it's basically going back and forth until finally they meet at a New Year's party. I mean, the rest of this movie is just them basically angry at each other until, except for the very last part of it, of course.
Yeah, and I think he started trying to make amends, but he was doing it in a way that she felt like he was pretending like nothing ever happened, and that was not, she didn't feel like respected by that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so they was remembering back when they first met each other, and they meet at the New Year's party, and he runs up to her. It's almost like there's a famous movie. Oh, I forget what it's called now, with Dustin Hoffman. It's a movie that made Dustin Hoffman a famous star back in the 60s. I can't remember what it's called now. The Graduate. Have you ever seen The Graduate?
Yeah.
It's almost like he's running, like he's trying to catch up to her at the end, like to stop, say he loves her, like at the end of that movie. I've never seen that movie. I've seen parts of that movie. And I've seen the end of the movie, so I know the basics of that movie. So, but that's he comes up to her, and they kiss, they fall in love, and then of course it's a movie, so they're happy ever after. So, and of course
I was kind of hoping that they would do that little couch thing and they would make him look really, really old.
Oh, that would have been cool. Yeah. Yeah. And because they said they got married 3 months after that New Year's Eve thing. So, but yeah, that would have been interesting. I wonder what because Billy Crystal, they made him look old in The Princess Bride.
The Princess Bride. So they could have done something similar.
Yeah.
That would have been really fun to see.
Yeah. That's the end of the movie. Who's the writer? This was written by Nora something, I think. Hold on a second. I'll bring it up here. Nora Ephron, I forget her name, and directed by Rob Reiner. Rob Reiner has made some statements lately. It makes me not like him as a person. I should say I don't hate him. Just don't want to be around him because he makes political statements. I hate when people like express their politics, and it's like I'm supposed to like they're standing on some moral high ground, and I'm supposed to like agree with them. Whether I do or I don't, I just don't like when people do that. So he's kind of pushed me away. But I will say he's a good director, though. Aside from his professing his political point of view publicly. Nora Ephron. I saw a small interview with her. She seemed like a nice person. I can't say anything else about her except that the story she wrote was really good. So, let me see. Anything else that she's done? Oh, she's passed on. Oh, that's sad.
Bewitched. That's kind of a fun movie. It's not like amazing. Oh, Julia and Julia. I like Julia and Julia.
Oh, okay. Bewitched is obviously based on the old TV show. So
yeah.
She rewrote that? I didn't know that.
Oh, it was a movie, yeah. With Will Ferrell again.
Oh, she directed it. Oh, she directed and wrote it. Okay. So.
What a talent. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, she was pretty good. Did you see, so you saw Julia, was it Julie and Julia? Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
And that's a good movie?
I do like that one. That one's about cooking. I don't love it. I do like it. And I do love Meryl Streep. In general, she's great.
And so the other movie, did you see Bewitched?
Yes. I saw it on TV. I saw it a while ago on TV. I don't really remember what happened there, but Will Ferrell, I know he took like a backseat role more, and it wasn't really too, as far as I remember, it wasn't too funny. So that was interesting.
Was it like the TV show?
I've only seen a few episodes of the TV show. I don't think it was kind of more inspired by, I feel like.
Oh, okay.
The TV show.
I watched that when I was a kid, so I remember, but I used to watch it a lot when I was a kid. Not as an adult, but I do remember the show. So, I remember, was it a comedy? I assume it was a comedy. The movie.
It was funny. It was like it was a romantic comedy, definitely.
Okay. Alrighty. So go back to our movie here. So I overall, I guess what kind of rating would you give this movie?
I would give this movie a 7 out of 10. What would you rate it?
I go a little higher actually. I'll give it like an 8.5 out of 10. So I like the ending of it. Like I said when we first started this, I remember seeing it, but this time I just really enjoyed it for some reason. I've in the past I say I don't usually see rom-coms, and I always bring up that I have seen Cutting Edge. I keep completely forgot I saw this one for some reason. It's a movie that I remember I saw, but forget that I saw it for some reason. So it's a very good movie. And all the other thing is, for some reason, have it in my mind that I don't like Billy Crystal movies, but then again, I think about it, I do like the movies he's been in, so I guess I'm wrong. I do like Billy Crystal movies. Uh, the other one was I just mentioned was Princess Bride, which it wasn't really a Billy Crystal movie, but he was in there. So
And I think that his character, he wasn't in there for very long, but he played it very well. It wasn't his real wife that he was playing with. I think we
no,
talked about this.
yeah, the woman that she was very famous at the time. I can't remember her name, but she was
Yeah.
but at the time she was definitely very popular, and I don't think she's very popular anymore. So, but I know you're talking about. So, what else? Just for the heck of it, let me see what else he's been in that really stands out. City Slickers. I didn't really care for that one. Did you see City Slickers?
I did not.
Yeah, I don't know. I just seemed kind of boring. A lot of people liked it when it came out. I just didn't care for it. In fact, I think my dad saw it with me, I think, or my best friend, and I think whoever I saw it with also didn't like it. We were surprised that it did so well. So, no, this is an odd one. The Adventures of Oh, he's okay. That's a minor role, so I won't bring that up. So the only other movie I can say is he was in a movie called Running Scared, which came out in 1986. So I like him in that movie. So that's a movie that was very popular when it came out, which is very much forgotten about nowadays. Hardly anyone seems to remember that one. So
Interesting.
I remember there was one other movie. I'm sure it'll come to me. It doesn't really matter. But at least one other movie, I can't remember what it was. Yeah, so I would say, yeah, I say definitely 8.5. Well, there's an R rating. Interesting. I didn't notice that. Especially since it came out in the late 80s. Most late 80s movies they tried to get like PG-13s because they wanted to get the kids in there. So I wonder if it's because of that scene in the restaurant. But
Probably.
I can't think of any other reason why, because it wasn't really anything else in there. So not really. I mean, most of the sex was implied or just not shown. It was just talked about, and wasn't even really. I mean, it was way. I can't imagine it. I don't know. It's weird. I can't imagine. It doesn't seem like an R-rated movie, does it? It really doesn't.
Not really, no.
So, okay. Well, anything else you'd like to add about it?
No. I guess I would recommend it if someone likes romantic comedies.
Right. And so, how about Meg Ryan? Anything else about Meg Ryan? I was trying to think about her. I don't think I've seen her in too many movies. She's still doing movies, right?
I think so. I definitely recognize the name.
Oh, is she not? Is she not very popular anymore? Oh, I thought she was still pretty popular. Maybe I think she was. Maybe it was back in the day. Maybe she was popular. I guess maybe her popularity has dropped off. Is she not that popular anymore?
Maybe.
I'll bring her up. Here we go. Just for the heck of it. No, I thought she was very popular. I don't see her too many things here. So, alrighty. Maybe at the time she came out, I remember she was very. I think this was what made one of the movies that helped make her popular, and I thought she was very popular. So I don't know. I don't keep up to date on things. So, yeah, I would. As far as the movie goes, as far as recommendations, I would recommend it too. If you're looking for a romance comedy or even just a movie in general, it just seemed kind of fun to me. I enjoyed watching it from beginning to end. So.
Yeah.
Alrighty, so let's bring up our question from earlier. Let me go ahead and bring that up here. Let's see. Looks like a pretty good response. So far 96 votes and no comments. On a scale of 1 to 5, how bad are your allergies? And 68% overwhelmingly so far, I do not experience allergies. Well, I guess you and I do not fall into that category. I wish we did.
No, not at all.
14% I sneeze now and then. 7% with I get congested and sneeze often. 6% with I don't take multiple allergy meds. I can barely function. What'd you say? Oh, if I don't take them, I barely function. Excuse me. And 5% with I experience all allergy symptoms and need allergy meds. So, no comments so far. Let me double check. Sometimes they sneak in there. We don't see them. Nope, nothing there so far. So, how do you feel about that? That number. I guess that's about right. I mean, I do remember whenever I was suffering from allergies, most of the people around me were not. So,
Yeah, I mean, my two best friends also have pretty bad allergies. And yeah, no, everyone I know has allergies. My mom doesn't really have too bad of allergies, but
the my in my family it was my mother and me, and as my sister got older, she didn't suffer them at first, but as she got older, then she started to suffer from them as well, very badly.
oh,
And so she's early on, she was fine. But then my dad, I don't think my dad ever suffered from major allergies. So it was mainly just the three of us in my family. And I think my best friend, which is I also consider family, I think he had some allergies too. So my dad was the lucky one, definitely. Alrighty. Anything else you'd like to add about that?
no, I don't think so. I think our did you want to talk about the movie that we're going to do next week?
Sure. Yeah, we'll be doing a show 2 weeks from today. What movie did you want to do?
We talked about doing Broadcast News, which is also like an 80s rom-com, but I wanted to know more about the like what they showed about literally the news and the behind the scenes of it. I wanted a little more information on that because it seemed really cool and I just didn't know if all of it was like actually accurate or not. So
Okay.
if you still want to do that one, we can definitely do that one.
Yeah. I've never seen this movie. I like Albert Brooks. So, yeah, definitely. Oh, Holly Hunter's in it too. Cool. I like Holly Hunter.
Yeah, it's a fun movie. I'm not gonna tell you anything about it because I like how it ends.
Oh, so you have seen it. Okay, I wasn't sure if you said you had seen it or not. Okay,
Yeah.
And you okay, yeah, let's not talk about it. We don't want to spoil anything. So yeah, we'll do broadcast news. And don't forget everybody, if you'd like to help support what we're doing, we have the affiliate link for NordVPN in the description below. That would help support what we're doing. And we'll see you in 2 weeks with our review for broadcast news.
Okay, thank you. Bye. Thanks for listening.
Bye.